It was a quiet evening in the forest when Michelle heard heavy footsteps outside her wooden cabin. She stepped out cautiously, expecting a deer or a wild boar. Instead, in front of her stood a massive brown bear. But he wasn't alone. Beside him, a cub lay on the ground, trembling and wounded. Michelle froze, surprised. The bear looked at her with sad eyes, showing no signs of aggression. Michelle took a slow step forward. Her heart was pounding, but something in the bear's eyes told her he was here to ask for help. The cub whimpered softly, and Michelle knelt, observing from a distance. "He's hurt," she whispered. The bear didn't move, as if waiting for her permission. "Okay," Michelle said, gathering courage. "I'll help you." She went back inside to grab the first aid kit. Michelle came out with the first aid kit in her hands. She slowly approached the cub while the bear watched her closely. "I don't want to hurt you," she said calmly. She knelt beside the cub, who trembled. One paw was swollen, possibly broken. Michelle disinfected the wound and gently wrapped it. The bear didn't move, completely trusting her. It was a magical and unexpected moment. After treating the cub, Michelle sat on the ground, exhausted but happy. The cub looked calmer and sought contact with his mother. Michelle looked at the bear and said, "He needs rest, but he'll be okay." The bear made a deep sound, almost a thank you. Then he sat beside the cub, keeping his eyes on Michelle. A quiet trust had been born between them. Michelle went back inside and brought out a blanket, placing it near the cub. The air was cold, and she didn't want his condition to worsen. The bear sniffed the blanket, then allowed the cub to lie down on it. "You can stay here tonight," Michelle said. The bear grunted softly, seeming to understand. Michelle went back inside but left the door open. She felt protective of her two unexpected guests. During the night, Michelle couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the bear and his cub. Every now and then, she peeked out the window to check. The bear was still beside the cub, attentive to his every breath. He looked like a caring father. Michelle smiled, touched by the scene. "You're not dangerous," she whispered. "You're just a dad trying to save his child." The sky was full of stars, and the forest seemed to listen in silence. At dawn, Michelle went outside with a bowl of water and some honey. She didn't know if the bear would accept it, but she wanted to show gratitude. She placed the food on the ground and sat nearby. The bear sniffed the honey, then slowly approached and began licking it. Even the cub tried to get up to drink. Michelle felt her heart melt. "You'll make it, little one," she whispered. That moment felt like a fairy tale. Michelle spent the morning watching the two bears. They seemed less wary, and the cub showed small signs of improvement. He had eaten a little and was trying to walk. Michelle grabbed her binoculars to check the surroundings. No signs of danger. However, the forest silence was strange, almost to perfect. "Maybe something's coming," she thought. But she brushed off the feeling, focusing on the bears instead. The cub, after hours of rest, was finally able to walk with difficulty. Michelle clapped softly, moved. The bear let out a low sound, as if to thank her. But something interrupted that moment, a distant howl. Michelle turned quickly toward the forest. "Wolves," she whispered. The bear stood up, tense. He had heard them too. Michelle knew she had to prepare herself. Wolves never come alone. Michelle went inside and grabbed the tranquilizer gun. She didn't want to hurt anyone, but had to protect herself and the bears. She stepped out and saw the bear watching the woods intently. Then, out of nowhere, 5 wolves emerged from the shadows, growling. Michelle raised the gun. "Go away," she shouted. She fired into the air, but the wolves didn't stop. One leapt at her, and she fell to the ground. The gun flew away. She was surrounded. Michelle tried to get up, but one of the wolves growled at her, pinning her down. Fear filled her eyes. It felt like the end. But at that moment, a powerful roar broke the silence. The bear leapt among the wolves like a fury, striking the first one with force. The wolves scattered for a moment, surprised. Michelle saw the cub limping toward her, trying to protect her with his small body. Michelle built a small shelter to offer the bears some refuge. Every day, she brought fresh water and food. The bear and his cub often returned, but always with respect. They never invaded the territory. They were quiet visitors. The other animals in the forest seemed to accept their presence. A new harmony ruled the forest, and Michelle was part of it. The bear fought fiercely, pushing the wolves away from Michelle. 2 fled quickly, but 3 kept attacking. The cub growled, showing immense courage. With her heart pounding, Michelle searched for the gun in the grass. She spotted it a few meters away. She crawled slowly, trying not to be seen. A wolf noticed her and charged, but the cub threw himself in between them. A heroic act. Michelle grabbed the gun and quickly took aim. She fired a tranquilizer shot that hit the charging wolf. The animal collapsed soon after. Meanwhile, the bear had driven off another wolf, while the last one hesitated. Michelle stood up slowly, breathing heavily. "Enough," she shouted. The last wolf growled once more, then turned and disappeared into the trees. The battle was over. Michelle fell to her knees, exhausted. The bear slowly approached her. Their eyes met. There was no more fear or mistrust, only respect. The cub collapsed beside Michelle, trembling but safe. She reached out and stroked his muzzle. "You were a little hero," she whispered. The bear grunted softly, almost in approval. The night was still dark, but now it felt less frightening. As dawn approached, Michelle helped the cub back on his feet. He had some scratches but was doing better. His father looked at him with pride. "You have a brave son," Michelle said to the bear, as if he could understand. She grabbed a blanket from the house and spread it on the grass. The 2 bears curled up beside her, for the first time without fear. A bond had been born. The sun rose through the trees, coloring the sky pink. Michelle sat beside the 2 bears, stroking the sleeping cub. The adult bear looked up at the sky, then at Michelle. No words were needed. She understood. It was gratitude, a pure primal emotion. That day changed everything. They were no longer enemies but allies, friends born from a night of danger. One evening, Michelle found the bear standing near the door. He had a branch in his mouth like a gift. She took it with a smile. "A present for me?" The bear let out a deep sound, almost a loving growl. Michelle had never imagined such a bond could form between a woman and a wild bear. But it had happened, and nothing could break it. The story of Michelle and the bears spread among the rangers. No one believed it could be true until they saw footage from her camera. A unique bond, born of pain and trust. Michelle knew not all animals were like that, but that bear family had changed her life forever, and she would never forget them. Every year, on the same day they first met, the bears would return to visit Michelle. They didn't come too close, but stayed visible among the trees, as if to say, "We're still here." Michelle smiled, left some honey on the rock, and waved. It was a silent ritual, an eternal bond between a woman and 2 creatures who had once saved her life.